Hey guys, I've always really wanted to make a hair tutorial, so let's do this. I have already gone and started. In making my flat colored layer, I used my customized brush tool and paint bucket tool. Make sure this layer is completely separate from your other colored layers, as this won't go as well. Making a new layer, go above and click Clip and Group. Making sure this layer is above and clip to your flat colored layer, we will begin to shade. Pick a darker color than your original color. I don't tend to use multiply while shading anymore, so you will see me go back and forth from colors a lot. With my brush tool, I color in large areas that I want really dark. Well, maybe not really, but I want dark. Here I'm playing around because my lines are a bit dark and I'm having trouble seeing my lines from my shading. I mean, my lines are a bit light, so I'm having troubles of seeing my lines from my shading. I have a bunch of customized tools. I will have links to their settings in the description. And now playing around, I will use my blur tool, eraser, and brush tool to color in the areas I want dark. Now I take my marker tool. My marker tool hasn't been adjusted for any of the settings, so you don't need to worry about that. I now softly apply large areas and fine areas of shading where it is wanted, but this varies from how you want it to look. Using the marker tool and using this technique apparently looks really well with softer colors, especially with white. Though this is darker hair, this effect doesn't look as nice as it should. But I still use it with every picture and as I like the look. Now back to my brush tool. I zoom in and add smaller and darker shading in the areas that are wanting, and playing back and forth with my blur tool and my brush tool, I add shading. This process is very tricky and I lack the words to explain, but it's very touchy and tricky in a way. So without any more silliness, I'm just going to speed it up so this process doesn't seem as long as it really is. And I hope that you will be able to follow along, as I'm not going to speed it up too much. the last part of the shading process. With the airbrush tool, I will use a large brush and add in shading where it's wanted. I tend to add shading in areas that I want darker, though sometimes I don't like the look, so I will undo it, and clicking multiply on my airbrush tool, I will add in shading. With my airbrush tool being on multiply, it makes my colors darker. I tend to like this effect, and I just recently discovered it. And it all depends on what you like as well, so don't trust everything I say. Now playing with this, I will just go along until I like the look of it. Now making a new layer, we are now going to add highlights onto our hair. I tend to like to stay in the more orangey yellow area, as I don't like the look of white as it takes away color from your highlights. Now zooming in, I will add in solid, like, I don't know how to explain this. I will add in solid lines that kind of represent a sound wave or heart wave or something of the sorts. And I usually go along around the eyes on the hair. See, it looks kind of like sound waves. And I usually go down to near the ends of the hairs where I figure light would shine on as well. Now taking my marker tool, I apply soft highlights around the areas where I think light would shine along the hair. Goodness, I have such trouble speaking. I will usually just stick to the areas where I have my solid lines, but occasionally I will go around and add highlights everywhere everywhere else. If it's the way if I like the way it looks. I don't like the blunt look of the marker tool when it comes to highlighting, so I usually erase with my soft eraser. I usually erase the ends with my soft eraser to give it a more faded look. I don't always do this, but usually I take my airbrush tool and apply a large shading along the sides of my sound wave like things. Though I messed up still having my airbrush tool on multiply, I went back and redid it. Now done, go turn your layer onto luminescency. This makes it very shiny, and though I used to like the bright look, I don't anymore, so I adjust the opacity, which you can do, to match however you want it to be. We are coming to an end of my video, and I really hoped it was helpful, even through all my stuttering and terrible explaining. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope it was helpful.